Hi guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to look at a couple different things. I've got this tree here that we're going to look at. I'm going to prune it up a little bit, kind of give an update. I was looking back through my pictures and things, and I saw a picture from 2023 on this one that I'll show up in the corner here in a little bit. But again, we'll get into this tree in a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about is a new book that I came across, and I'll show it a little bit here, but I'll also put a screenshot of it up in the corner. But it's a book that it's like 180 pages, and it's strictly devoted to portulacaria afra. And this guy who wrote it, he's from South Africa, and down there they call it speck boom. But it's all portulacaria afra. It's a really nice book, and it's funny watching. There's a video of him that I found also, and I'll link that down below. And I'll also link to where you can find this book. I found it on Amazon. I'll put a link down below as well if you'd like to check it out. But it's funny because down there these things grow in the wild. So he's got some excellent specimens. The trunks are just super massive, and you can just walk out in the landscape and find these massive portulacarias. So it would be nice to be in that environment and be able to come across, some of these huge things out in the wild where you can, take cuttings or whatever. But it's I found it, I've been growing portulacarias for, 12, 13 years, something like that. But so I knew a lot of the stuff, but it's just neat to get other people's perspective on trees. And you just, some of the neat things you got to watch out for is some of the, it goes through soil care, watering, indoor growing, a lot of different things. And but he's in the southern hemisphere, so when he talks about growing trees indoors, he mentions you want them in a north facing window, where they get a lot of sun, and not a south facing window where it's shaded. But it's just the opposite for us here. I'm in the U.S. and anybody else in the northern hemisphere. So it's just a little cool to get different perspectives. But like I said, it's a pretty cool book. It's, like I said, 180 some pages, all talking about portulacaria. So if you're a dwarf jade portulacaria fan, you might want to check this out. It's, like I said, I find it pretty cool and informational. So just thought I'd share that with you. So back to this tree. Like I said, I found a picture of this from, I think it was September, October 23. I'll put that up here. And you can see initially this was like a sort of a twin trunk, I guess, because they had it basically wide here. And this side was just as thick as this side, and I cut that branch off. But as you can see from the picture in 2023, it started growing again. So the branch that I think is in the picture is not much thicker than one of these shoots up here on top like this. And it just sprouted back and started growing again. So I'm like, well, why fight it? Just maybe have it be in a side branch or something. So I let it continue to grow, and I'm trying to keep it pruned so it doesn't get as thick as this again. But as you can tell, it's thickening up pretty fast. So it just kind of, the tree wants to be what it wants to be. So I could keep pruning that off, but I just quit fighting it and let it grow. And the more I look at this, I like the style of it. I'm going to have like a little pad over here, and then kind of develop this into a kind of a rounded broom. So the overall shape from this side down to this side is going to be that dome kind of loose triangle shape. But I also thought about maybe rotating or tilting the tree something like this, to where this would be the new soil line, and have this to where it looks more like a side branch and not just such a Y. but I'll probably do that maybe next spring or something. I don't think I'm going to do that today. But also, looking at some of these roots, I mean, I've got some pretty nice root flare down there. So when I repot it, I'll raise that up in the pot a little bit and expose more of those roots and make it look older and all that. So I'm really happy with the progress of this tree. So let's kind of get in. I think I'm going to go ahead and continue pruning it in this style. If I do decide to repot it and reposition it, it may change some of the profile on top, but I'm okay with that. It'll fill back in. It's a pretty vigorous tree, so it'll quickly grow into the new shape that I want to grow it in if I decide to change. Looks like a bougainvillea leaf up here that's fallen down. Just kind of loosely pruning this to a kind of a profile prune. And I think the last time I worked on this tree, I'm trying to fill this area in here, which it's doing pretty well. I put some wire on and kind of bent one of these, because this part in here was kind of open. I put some wire and kind of brought that branch down and over towards the front a little bit. So it did fill that in, letting this branch here grow out some. So it's starting to fill in there. But it's nice to, even if you don't make videos or whatever, I'd recommend taking pictures of your trees every so often, because if you're around them every day, you don't realize how much they're growing. And I was kind of surprised when I saw that, because I kind of remembered what the tree was and that this branch over here regrew, but it's just neat to go back and look at the picture and kind of see the actual progress that it's made just in a little over a year. So I guess a year, and it's January right now, so January 25. So a little over about a year and 4 months or so. So it's just kind of neat to see. And that's one reason why I'm doing videos. Not every video is a spectacular transformation, but that's really not what bonsai is. It's, little maintenance here and there, consistent maintenance, just to keep your trees in shape and growing. But anyway, I like to keep record, and I can go back and kind of see how the trees were in the past. I just wish I would have started doing it earlier. But I was taking pictures before I started this channel, but I just don't have video, or much video, if anything, until I started this channel. So yeah, I'm kind of liking the way this is shaping up. And when it's twisted this way, I'm kind of looking at it from this angle, so I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. I try to look and make sure the front and back is kind of balanced too. So I've got a little more growth over here that I'm going to prune back just to balance out the growth between the front and back. Yeah, I haven't got all the way through that book yet. I just picked it up in the last week or so. But it's just nice because if you're a portulacaria fan like I am, you know, they may mention it as a page or two in some of the other bonsai books, but to have an entire book that's just devoted to these was a nice find. Just looking in here to see if I've got any branches that are kind of crossing or straight up vertical that I'm not liking. Probably get in there and do some more wiring. So I've got this branch here that's pretty vertical that I could bend over. Just kind of fill in that space. I think I might go ahead and grab a little piece of wire and create a little hook that I've shown in some other videos. And bend that down in here, I think, and then I'll hook it on this branch down here that's a little sturdy. So I'll just make a little loop in the end of the wire and come up here, try to get my hand out of the way, just loop it around that and then bend it down to where I want it, and then find a branch down lower that's sturdy enough to support it, and then just create a loop on the other end and it'll hold it in place. So now you can see that that branch right here is now kind of flaring out to the side and not so straight up and down. It kind of fills in that spot over there. Still got a little bit of filling in to do up in here, but it's made a lot of progress and it'll eventually get there. Some of these that are kind of hanging down. Just taking another close look at it. Just picking off some of these leaves that are growing down. This thing probably needs a repot too, so like I said, in the spring I'll repot it and decide if I want to change the position of it, but I think we're going to leave it Leave it as is today. I don't know if it's showing up in the camera. I've got a few yellow leaves up here. Didn't see any bugs on it, so I'm thinking it's hard because yellow leaves can mean a number of different things. It could mean that it's overwatered, underwatered, stressed out for whatever reason, light change. But I've also seen that, you know, sometimes some of my trees, because the tree right next to it, where this is on my shelf, doesn't have any yellow leaves and it's growing nice. This one's growing, but just not as vigorous. And I think sometimes they just kind of go, some of my portulacarias kind of go semi-dormant and they just kind of quit growing. Some of the leaves turn yellow, fall off, but they just kind of stay that way through the winter, and they get back outside in the spring and then they just take off like crazy. So I just think, you know, different trees have a little bit different reaction to the environment. So at least that's been my experience anyway. So I don't get too stressed out when I see a few yellow leaves or a few leaves drop. As long as the rest of the tree looks pretty good and I don't see any bugs or anything that I need to take care of, because that can stress a tree out if you've got a bug infestation and cause them to lose leaves and all that good stuff. But like I said, I don't see any bugs, so I think it's just a environmental thing. And some of the grow lights maybe too close to it can cause that too. It's just, that's why it's tough sometimes. When you have something wrong with your tree, you just kind of have to sometimes just let it sit and wait, see what happens. Try some different things, water a little more, water a little less, change the position and light or whatever. But sometimes it's, you know, let them be and they'll recover when they get back out in the spring. So, but I think I've got another downward facing branch here that I'll get rid of. Yeah, I think that's going to just about do it for today. So give you a quick spin around so you can see it. Actually, let me clean some of this debris off the soil. Got some leaves that have fallen from trees next door and from this tree. Always like to keep the soil as clean as I can, just to, so if there are any critters, that they don't have a place to hide under the leaves and all that good stuff. Yeah. Okay. Now let me give you that spin around. There's the front. There's the left side. There's the back. Right side. And back to the front. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.